Hi everyone! So today we are going to unpack some of the questions that you have for Miss Hopi. I will go ahead and let her introduce herself and then we'll jump into the questions. Thank you. Nito ahong si Yan Hopi Matua, but ne Aeon Albert Yan Pahan Matua. Nit Navahuma, but ne Singopanako. Nit Miss Hopi 2019-2021. Hi everyone, my name is Aeon Albert. My Hopi name is Dawahongsi and I'm Snow Clan from the village of Singopavi. And I am Miss Hopi 2019 through 2021. Alright, so we'll go ahead and start off with some of the easier questions to answer. And the first one is, what is most fulfilling to you? What is most fulfilling to me is being able to showcase who I am and where I come from to the community and to everyone far and wide. I think that holding this title, you're showcasing the person that you were raised to be. And for me, I think that is the most fulfilling part of being Miss Hopi. The second question, what is your favorite part about representing the Hopi Sinom as Miss Hopi? My favorite part of representing the Hopi Sinom is being able to share who I am with everyone and being able to show where I come from with everyone. In college, I liked to talk about where I was from, and people always had so many questions. And being in a state as far as Washington, I didn't think that too many people would know about Hopi or where we were. There are people out there who know about us and know who we are and where we come from, and they know what we stand for. It's really nice and it's encouraging. And then being able to teach them more about us or to dive a little bit deeper in who we are. And those things, you don't have to be a royalty to show. You do that every day, whether you're in school. The behaviors and the actions that you take, that ultimately shows the world around us who we are as a Hopi people. And from a very young age, my parents have always put it into my mind that anything that I did wasn't just for myself, that it was going to reflect back on them as parents, it was going to reflect on my family, it was going to reflect on who I was as a Hopi. And so they have always put that thought into me that I need to be doing all that I can and be representing myself and my people in the best ways that I possibly can. What are some of the challenges you think the next generation will face? I think that 2020 has definitely brought us the most challenges of any year that I think back on and look back on. It was something I don't think anyone could have really predicted, like 5 years ago. So thinking about the future generation, I hope that they don't have to endure something as challenging as this. But I think that one of the things they will have to face is that I don't think that there will be as much social interaction in the way that it once was. And when you sort of lack that social interaction, sometimes it does lead into emotional trauma. And I think that that is probably one of the challenges that the next generation will face, is having to deal with the outcome of the current situation that we're in. But I am also very hopeful, and I know that with every challenge, there are always individuals in the community that have some idea of what the solution should be. And I think that if we give everyone the opportunity to try on what they think could help fix these challenges or solve these challenges, then we ultimately come out a better and stronger people. Thank you for that. And next, in what ways do you feel we as Hopi people succeed in contrast to Western societies, and in what ways are we deficient? If any, how can we address these deficiencies? Compared to the Western society, the things that we have that are very different is, when I went to college, everyone wants you to talk about yourself and what accomplishments you made in the world. But it's kind of funny because when I think about it, I'm always like, well, me and my family or me and my friends. And then they're like, that's nice, but what did you do? That way of thinking as an individual is something that can definitely benefit you when you are trying to take steps forwards as an individual. But one of the things that we have that is so special and so powerful is that we don't take steps by ourselves. We take steps with other people, and you're always bringing your people along with you on whatever journey that you're going on. Whenever we are faced with a challenge, we're not facing it alone, we're facing it as an entire group of people. And I think that's one of the benefits that we have. I would love to say that we have no deficiencies, but in being Hopi, I think that we are also taught that there are these deficiencies in us, and that's what keeps us growing and making sure that we're always, they say you're always working toward being a Hopi, that no one is really Hopi, but you're working toward that. I know this was a really tough one to answer. What aspects of cultural preservation do you feel our younger generation needs to focus on besides language? If you are able to, please name and explain 3. I think that in order to preserve our culture, the first step is really instilling a sense of purpose into our younger generations. And that comes with telling them who they are, explaining to them what it means to hold a clan and to come from a village and to even have a name. I was always told who I was and where I come from. These were things that weren't ever going to be detached from me as a person. That is one of the most important aspects, is making sure that once you have that purpose, you are more willing to live up to those expectations and responsibilities that you're given. And I know that, it can be scary to explain some of these things to the younger generation, and will they understand and will they know what I'm talking about? And if I'm being honest, the things that were told to me when I was a kid, I probably didn't understand them in that time, but I remembered them. And when I got older, everything that was said to me began to make sense. Knowing that I have these responsibilities to myself and to my people and to my family, it's always there in my mind. When you're making these decisions, it's always going to be there. And what definitely helps me on the days where maybe I am not feeling good about myself, or if I'm in some sort of bout of depression, when the negative thoughts come, I have to tell myself that I have to keep going, because I am this person and I have this value to my community and I have this value to my family. And when you put that value into someone, it can start, even at birth, in making sure that our children know that they mean something to us. Then it becomes easier to teach and to pass on some of the teachings and responsibilities that we have as people. And so I think in order to preserve the culture, we have to make sure that we are instilling that cultural purpose and that cultural value into our youth. And they are never too young to listen or to understand. And even if they don't understand in the current age or state that they're in, it's going to make sense, and it is going to come back to them when they're older, and they're going to stand up a little bit taller and walk a little bit prouder. The second way I think that we can preserve our culture is making sure that we're preserving the land and making sure that we're taking care of it. Not only because that was one of the promises we made in living here and occupying this space, but because when you're told of these places, it's nice to hear about them, but when you can actually see them, or you can show someone, this is where we came from, that is one of the most valuable things. In preserving our land, we're preserving ourselves. The third thing I think that goes for any human being, whether you're Hopi or not, in preserving your culture, is being able to listen. Being able to listen to one another, whether you are the one giving off information or you're the one receiving. And listening comes with practice, and not just listening to take in information, but listening to be able to reflect on it, to think about it, and to integrate it, whatever you're being taught, into your everyday life. Being able to listen as an adult and being able to listen as someone who is younger, it goes both ways. And I think that you know, in a way, we, as much as we practice our articulation of words and the way that we give speeches, and we're taught public speaking in school, that we also need to be taught how to listen and how to take in the information and the stories and the wisdom that is given to us. To answer that question a little bit more direct, the 3 ways that we can help preserve our culture is 1, to instill the value of who we are as a people back into our youth. 2, to make sure that we are preserving the land and our historical areas and sites. And 3 is to make sure that we are able to listen to one another. I'd like to thank everyone for allowing me to be here and for taking the time to get to know me a little bit better, for submitting all of your questions, and I can't wait to see you guys again. Alright, there you go, everyone. I hope that these answers have given you some sort of clarity on who we are as a person. And if you have any other questions, be sure to ask them and we will try our best to answer. Thank you once again for being here with us. We hope to see you again soon.